Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. So today I kind of want to do a flashback as to how I got my first apartment complex that I bought in Oklahoma. Those of you who've been following me, you know I bought a 26 unit apartment complex back in August of 2021. And I started, and that's when I really went into multifamily. Right before that, I owned single family homes in Bay Area, California, which is a high cost of living market. It's more of an appreciation market, not as much cash flow. So I really wanted to balance out my real estate portfolio by adding um, multifamily that specifically cash flowed. So Oklahoma is more of a cash flow market, less of an appreciation market. But what's amazing about multifamily, and multifamily is 5+ units, is the value is based on the net operating income divided by the market cap rate. So the net operating income is your income, which is your monthly rents or annual rents minus your annual expenses. So what are expenses? It's going to be the water bill, electricity bill, insurance, property management, property tax, any repairs, any maintenance. That's kind of your expenses, right? And whatever that is, divide by the market cap rate. So for Oklahoma, at the time I bought it, it was an 8 cap market. So let's just say your NOI was $100,000, then you would divide that by an 8 cap. So that's divided by 0.08, and that is your value. So what's really nice about this metric is it's really easy to determine the value of your apartment complex if you're doing value add strategies, right? So for example, if I'm able to double my NOI from $100,000 to $200,000 a year, and you divide that by the same market cap rate of 8%, then you essentially double the value of your apartment complex, right? So how do you increase your NOI? You can increase the rents, and then you can decrease your expense, right? And that's exactly what I did for my 26 unit. The average rents were around $350. The owner owned it for, I think, 20 years. It was owned free and clear. He self-managed the property, and he didn't really raise rents for the longest time, and I don't blame him, right? Because his cost basis was low. It was paid off, and he was still working as an attorney on the side. So for him, and given that he was self-managing it, I think he had his office in one of the units too. He wasn't really motivated to raise the rents. So when I took over the property, I basically brought my general contractor, who's also my property manager, and said, "Hey, if we renovate these units, how much is that going to cost, and how much rent can I get?" And he was basically telling me, if you want brand new units, so you're talking about new kitchen cabinets, new kitchen countertops, new appliances, fresh coat of paint, new flooring, new bathroom, everything brand new. It's going to be between $10,000 to $13,000, depending on what the damages behind the wall is. And we can probably charge on average about $700 to $800, depending if it's a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom. So I just said, okay, so basically if I spend, $10,000 per door, so let's just say that's times 26 units, so let's just call it $300,000. So if I spend $300,000, I could potentially double my rents from $350 on average to $700 on average. And assuming the market cap rate stays the same, I essentially doubled the value of my apartment complex. And that's exactly what I did. So let me take a step back and tell you how I got my apartment complex, what I bought it at, how much I put in, and what the value is today. So I basically got my apartment complex by doing direct mail. I have a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel talking about direct mail. I think I have a more detailed video, a lecture about it. So just click on my channel and click search direct mail and you'll find it, right? But pretty much what I did was I used PropStream to find my leads. I have about maybe 10 to 12 criteria that I use on PropStream. And then from there, I will outsource my letters to a company called Yellow Letters Complete. And there's a certain strategy that I use for my letters to help with the open rate. So, I do an A2 size invitation envelope. I handwrite the address. And in the letter, I kind of have a letter template that I sell, and it's part of the mentorship as well. All this is part of the mentorship, to be honest, and the coaching program. So if you want to join and want to learn how to do direct mail to find off-market leads like me, check out my link down below. But basically, I sent out 300 letters a month across all Oklahoma, starting in, I want to say, March of 2021. So from March all the way up to August, that's roughly 5 to 6 months. I sent out 300 letters a month. on the second Monday of every month on the dot. And typically, when we send out letters on Monday, expect the response by that Friday, right? Because people, it takes a few days to mail it, and then people wait till the weekend, and they'll start to call you, email you, text you. And once they call you, email, text you, please respond within 24 hours because it's a warm lead, right? And then once they respond, I have this checklist of like maybe 10 to 12 questions that I ask just to get a baseline understanding of the property, but also more importantly is building trust with the owner, right? So building trust with that owner is key. That's how you get the deal, right? People want to sell their property to people that they like, right? So they have to like you and they have to build trust. And of course, like I'm in California, they're in Oklahoma, and I'm trying to buy their property, right? So you have to build trust. So, honestly, that's the hardest part of doing off-market leads is building that trust, and it takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes consistency, right? And for me, I was fortunate that my owner, he was an attorney, so he just wanted all communication through email. So I made an effort to communicate in a way that he wanted to communicate, right? If he wants to talk on the phone, I'll call him. If he wants to text, I'll text him. If he wants email, I'll email him. Whatever mode of communication they want, follow it, and that's how you build trust, right? And then you have to be transparent, and you have to do what you say. If I said, hey, I'm going to submit an offer on Friday, you better have an offer on Friday. If not, at least follow up and say, hey, sorry, I'll be late. My offer is going to be on Monday because I was busy at work. Whatever it is, constant communication is always key, right? That's always key. So I sent at least probably 50, 60 emails between this owner. I would ask for, do you have a P&L statement for the past 3 years? Do you have a recent rent roll? Do you have the utility companies that you use? What utilities do you pay? How much is your insurance? How much is your property tax? Like, he was pretty transparent and easy to work with. He gave me the lease statements. He gave me these documents. Keep in mind, unfortunately, multifamily, they can fabricate and lie on these documents, which is unfortunate, but that's just the cost of doing business, right? So fortunately for me, he didn't lie. And then I would ask like, oh, how are the collections? And he's like, oh, it's amazing. But once you own enough real estate, realistically, there's always one or two tenants out of 26 that aren't paying, right? So he's just maybe not being honest, but it's okay, right? You bake that all in. And I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable asking for these documents, but for me, I always say, oh, I need this for my lender. My lender needs this to analyze the deal, because the lender, they're putting in the majority of the money, to be honest, right? I'm putting 25% down, they're putting in 75% down. So it's pretty standard, right? And if they don't have a P&L statement and they don't have a rent roll, I have templates that I use to get the P&L, and I'll talk to them on the phone, right? And I coach students on this all the time. I'm like, you have to make their life as easy as possible, and that only helps you build trust. That helps you get seller financing, creative financing, and it helps you ultimately close on the deal. Because if you build trust of them, you'll get the deal, right? And it takes patience and time. So literally, I have students, I didn't have to do it because I was a rent roll given to me, but if they have no rent roll, you go on the phone and say, unit number 1, what's their name? When did they move in? When's their lease end? What's their rent? What's their security deposit? Go down the list. All the units. P&L. All right. This month, how much did you make? This month, what were your expenses? Break it down. And I have Excel sheet templates in my mentorship program, right? At that point, you get the information, and then now it's like, okay, how do you make an offer, right? And I have a video talking about how to make offers, but I do a 3 offer method that I teach, right? So 1 is the net operating income divided by the market cap rate. Number 2 is the tax assessed price. You can find that's public information on the county tax assessor's office. So I bought mine in Oklahoma County. So I just Googled Oklahoma County tax assessor's office, find that website, punch in the address, and it'll tell you exactly that offer. And the last one is the price per door. So that's based on sales comps that you can find on LoopNet and PropStream. Once again, I teach this in the mentorship program. So I collate those 3 numbers, and whatever's the least offer, that's what I start with. And typically it's a tax assessed price. That's the lowest offer. And sometimes when you send it, you get 2 responses. Either A, oh, like I know where you got the offer from because they see their tax bill every year. Or, oh, it's so low. Like, where'd you make that number from? And at that point I just said, oh, like that's just based on the property tax assessor's record. I didn't make it up, right? But that's a starting point for negotiation. So just know how high you can go, right? And for me, I use the NOI as divided by market cap rate because that's what lenders use. So you just know your high points and you negotiate, right? And the negotiations never end. So I submit an offer of 520K, which was the tax test price, and he accepted it. I was very fortunate, right? And then at that point, I went through due diligence, did an inspection, found out that the roof need to be replaced, which cost 30K. Found out that there's potholes in the driveway which need to be filled up, which cost 5,000. Realized that they had like 10 electric panels that were recalled and need to be replaced, and that costed another, I forget now, but like maybe 10K or 10K total, so 1K each. So it came out to be, I did all these numbers, a bunch of wire heaters need to be replaced, and I said, hey, all these things need to be repaired. I want $120,000 in seller repair credit. And he said, oh, this property is sold as is. And he's like, well, can you just lower it to whatever is necessary, and then I'll consider it. So I said, okay. I talked to my property manager and then said, okay, what's the most important? And he said, obviously the most important is whatever's safety related. So roof, insurance wants a new roof, right? You got to get rid of those electric panels that are recalled because it's a fire hazard. And number 3 is those potholes. So I said, okay, how much does all that cost? And it was roughly around $60,000, and I asked for that, and I got it, right? So by getting a $6,000 repair credit, it lowered my down payment by $60,000, right? So I went from 25% down to roughly like 12% to 13% down, which was really nice. And then there, I basically analyzed the property, and I remember based on the current rents, I think the current rents was around $9,000 a month for a 26 unit apartment complex. Average rent was $350, and the landlord was covering utilities for some of the tenants. So like he was charging $500, but he was covering the utilities. So after you factor in the utility costs, the rent's only $350, right? And I know that I could rent these out after renovation for $700, and they cover their own utilities based on what the property manager told me. So after I renovate it for 10K per door on average. So basically, I bought this for $500,000. I put in about $300,000 of renovation, about 10K per door, so that's 260,000. Plus, I replaced the roof and some outside exterior work. So I was roughly all in for $300,000. So I'm all in for $800,000 on the property. And this property, what's amazing is they appraised day one when I bought it from Bank of the West at 750K. So I made $250,000 of instant equity day one, right? Just by buying off market because I had such a good deal. And I still have the ability to double the rents, which doubles the value, right? So, fast forward to today, if I'm fully occupied, I do get about 18K a month. Realistically, I hover around 90% occupancy. So, I'm kind of at maybe 16,000 to 17,000 in rents. But I was able to double the rents. I was able to rent between 700 to 800 for a 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom respectively, and average is about $700 per door, averaging about 90% occupancy, and I was able to double the rent, so I doubled my NOI. The market cap rate unfortunately went up a bit, so I kind of lowered my value, because interest rates are higher, but if I kept the same market cap rate of 8%, basically the value is around $1.5 to $1.6 million, which is what's valued at today, right? So this is, and now this thing cash flows. Let's say I'm grossing 16K a month, 8K goes to expenses, right? So this property management, water, utilities, repair, all that stuff. And then I have 8,000 left over, which is my NOI, and then you minus my loan, which is 2,000. So on a bad month, I'm cash flowing roughly $6,000 per month, right? But in reality, I've kind of been hovering around maybe 8,000 ish, because my expenses are a little bit lower because I renovate these properties. So hopefully this gives you some insight as to how I got my first multifamily deal. If you're interested in joining my mentorship program or doing a course in coaching, check out my link down below. Just getting one of these deals is insanely life-changing for me. And I will preface this by, the cash flow is good, but I save a lot of that. I don't live off that cash flow. I use that to save up money as a reserve for the next big repair that's coming, right? Because I'd rather be prepared than underprepared. I would hate to use that to live my life and not have the money later, right? And when I need it, and now I'm coming out of pocket, right? So keep in mind that this cash flow, it's saved for a rainy day, right? So let me know if you have questions down below. Let me know if you have any questions. And please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with somebody who can benefit from it. And thank you so much. I hope to see you next one.